Hello friend, it's Mark out on the back 40, and in this episode I'm going to share with you some of my thoughts and experiences with habitat consultants to help you make a decision if you think that you should have a habitat consultant. And what I hope happens the most with this video is that we really get comments going. If you're somebody who has had a consultant out and you have any opinions or thoughts to help somebody make a decision, please put them in the comments below. Even if you're a guy that you never make comments ever, I think this would be a good one where we can start consolidating a lot of information for everybody to share to help people decide if they should have a habitat consultant come out on their property. Because whatever I'm going to say here in the next few minutes is not everything that there is to this decision. And I'm hoping that all of us together can help guys out. So thanks. I'll briefly go over my experience with habitat consultants so you kind of know where I'm coming from. I've had 3 different consultants out here. Number 1 was a local DNR biologist. This is way back in the late 90s when we didn't have habitat consultants like we do now. And he came out and walked the property with me and put together a nice plan. And I started implementing it, but I couldn't afford to do all the stuff that he had on there. I mean, I'm in my early 30s. You know, you're just getting your career going, right? And having kids, and there's a lot of other priorities in life then. A few years after that, I found that the local co-op had biologists also. So I had him come out and he put together a plan also. And what I had heard about those guys is they'll help pay for things. Like, okay, so they will help cost share planting trees and planting warm season grasses and putting in wetlands and doing all that kind of work. But after he came out here, put together a plan, I liked it, but I realized, oh, you have to sign a lease with them for 50 or 100 years or something like that. And I was not interested in getting tied up with the government in any way. So I passed on all that. Fast forward another 15, 20 years, I'm getting frustrated. The property's not producing bucks. We're shooting a doe or 2 a year, hardly seeing deer. And watching YouTube and seeing all this information, books, and I was frustrated. And maybe that's where you are too. You're probably one of 2 things. You're frustrated with your property that you can't get it there. And number 2, you're overwhelmed. Like there's so much information, you just don't know for sure what to do. So that brings me to what this video is about. Oh wait, there's a 3rd consultant that I finally hired after all that frustration. And that was, I wrote the guy a check. He's from here in Michigan. Wrote him a check, had him come out, and it was a great help to me. So habitat consultants are valuable. Short answer to the question, should you hire a habitat consultant? I would say the answer is yes, but with some qualifiers. Is that fair? Let's go through a few qualifiers I can think of offhand here. Number 1, make sure that you want to write a check for $1,500 or $2,000 or however much they are now. Whoever you're thinking about, the popular ones cost more, the newer guys are hungry and they're going to cost less, but make sure you're willing and able to write the check. I don't think it's for everybody to do. There's some guys, you just can't afford it. It's expensive to have somebody come out and tell you what to do for your property, to have deer on it. Man. So I can see where you wouldn't necessarily want to do that if you're not in the right financial situation. You need to just have a bunch of money in the bank and to write a check to have somebody do this. So, or it's really important to you and you have the money saved up. Don't put on a credit card. Don't get into debt. Don't not buy the kids new shoes just to have a property guy come out. That's just my opinion. Number 2, if you have the money and if you're just not the kind of guy that likes to dig in and do things and learn things and figure it out on your own, if that's just not your shtick, then hire a consultant. Not even a question. Like find somebody today and get them out there. That's what I would say. And not everybody's like me. I mean, I just happen to be born with the brain that likes to dig in, and you might be that way. But if you're not that way, then don't kill yourself trying to figure this thing out. Get somebody out there to do it, and then you'll be doing the right things at the right time. Number 3, if you are the kind of person that likes to research things and learn things and maybe do it yourself, but you are frustrated and you're overwhelmed and you're not sure what to do, or maybe you've made a couple of mistakes on your property and so you're really afraid you're going to make more mistakes, so you're not doing anything like you should be doing, then that would be another situation where you should hire somebody and get somebody out there to look at it. Get somebody to get some eyes on that thing. It's always good to have somebody else's perspective, because you're in a rut. If you haven't had anybody out there, you're probably in a rut. You look at the property the same way every time you walk out there, and you're missing things. And I only say that because that's how I was. I was absolutely missing obvious things when I had Jake, the consultant, come out here. So, but I'd also say if you are a DIY kind of guy, you like researching and you like making plans and you like executing plans, you're not afraid to read a book, you're not afraid to watch some videos, you have the ability to sift through bullshit that some guys are putting out there and then sift through like the reality stuff, because there's a lot of BS out there. Some of those guys doing those consultant stuff, man, I'm telling you, they get their oh man, I'm going to go into business thing for a second. Their unique selling proposition, the thing that makes them a little different than all the other consultants, and they try to hook you with that. And it might not even necessarily be the right thing for your property, but that's how they get you to write them a check and get out to their property. So just be aware of that. But finding a consultant, it would be once you decide if, yes, I'm going to get a consultant, how do you pick a consultant? And that's not an easy answer. That is something that you have to just understand. You need to do work on that. That is going to be work. I would suggest that you talk to them on the phone. If they're not accessible by phone, because I mean, some of these guys are real busy, maybe text or email. I'd ask them a few questions, questions to make sure that they are adaptable, that every property is different, because every property is different. Every owner is different. If it's somebody who says, okay, well, what are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish? What are your neighbors like? What's your property like? How much time are you willing to spend? How much money are you willing to spend? You know, if that's the kind of guy that's asking you questions like that and he adapts his plan specifically to you based around those criteria, then that's the right guy for you. So that's what I would say. But, I think, maybe things aren't, if you don't want to do all that work and you don't want to write somebody a check, there is an alternative. You can do it all yourself, right? Like, it's not, we have been around this long enough. This industry has kind of matured. I mean, there's so much research going into it and published. I mean, even universities have stuff, right? Like Mississippi State. I mean, have you seen their video channel? Like, they put collars on bucks and they know where they bed and how long they bed. I mean, there's so much information now that I think the industry is kind of dialing it in exactly what you should be doing with your property. I mean, I don't think it's that complicated anymore, is it? I think if I were to buy a new property right now, I think I would know pretty much exactly what I would do based on the consultants, the YouTube stuff I've watched, and what I've actually done out here on this property. I think it'd be pretty simple. You just, throw a trail around the outside, try and put all your blinds around the outside, and then just draw them to your blinds. It's not that complicated anymore. I wonder if I should just put something together. Just like a checklist, a roadmap, maybe a chronological roadmap. But like if I bought a property, what would I do? Yeah, maybe I'll work on that some. Put something together and then somehow figure out how you guys can download it and use it if you want to. I think I'll do that. Anyways, boy, I'm getting off track here. Okay, so should you hire a habitat consultant? Yes, you should if you can afford it and you want to put the work in with a guy. But do you have to? Nope, you can do it all yourself based on all the information that's out there. So I don't know if that helped you or hurt you, but if you got questions or comments, throw them down below. I'll try and answer them for you as quickly as I can. Thanks for watching. See you later.